Welcome to our podcast. We are Open Water. I'm Nashla.
I'm Emily.
And I'm Diana.
Welcome, everybody. This is our first episode, so bear with us.
As we try to navigate through everything and not have mess ups, which we probably will a whole lot.
Yeah.
Speak for yourselves.
Okay.
Open Water. This is our podcast. We called it Open Water because we are all water signs. I'm a Pisces.
I'm a Scorpio.
And I'm a Cancer. I don't know why I had to think about that.
Me too. I was like, why are you thinking?
We are open water signs.
So I'm the last to join their group. Nasty and Diana have been friends for how long now?
6 years.
6 years?
That's when I moved here.
And I met them 4 years ago.
I still have to count how many years me and Jessica have been together, so
It's been a while.
yeah.
So this is going to be a conversational style podcast. We're going to have lots of topics that we're going to talk about and discuss, relating from mental health to sexuality to virginity to white people to the government, everything in between, left, right, all of it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Why are you looking at me? I mean, you explained it all.
I know, but I'm like, I don't want to be the only one talking.
I know, but
I mean, you said it all for us. Like, that's pretty much it. We all, even though we all have similar, views on things, we all also differ on things. And we like to have different conversations with different people, and we like to see other people's points of views.
And here you will see ours.
And there's no judgment here. We're going to be very blunt, very open. There are going to be things you don't agree with us. There are going to be things you do agree with us. But that's why this is an open-ended conversation.
Mm-hmm.
Open water. Open.
Like Emily's vagina.
All the time.
Open for business.
I don't know, I'm wearing the porn star shirt though.
You need to be open for business.
I know, girl. So the one thing that we always talked about with us being water signs is what type of water element will we be.
Mm-hmm.
And I always would say I'm a river because I just be flowing. And then I can open up into bigger things. Or I can just stay to myself and be in my little river and chill. Lazy river. Sometimes you get hectic. But other than that, I'm a little river.
I said I was an ocean, but I can't remember why. I
You're
think the only reason why is
Spicy.
because what does spicy have to do with the ocean?
Scorpios. I don't know. Oceans can be hurricanes.
I also don't understand why a Scorpio is a water sign, because you see scorpions in the desert where they have no water.
It's because I read something about it saying that Scorpios are water signs because they don't need a lot of water, but when they need it. And that's why they're in the desert because damn, I can't remember the exact thing, but I'm gonna find it. I'm gonna send it to you.
Okay.
Because everyone's always, but there's always that one outlier. Because everyone thinks Aquarius should be water sign, but they're air.
I know.
Mhm.
I
Yeah.
thought that for the longest time.
So that's fine.
It's always that one sign in the elements that just doesn't quite go, and I am that for the water.
Mm-hmm.
Because everybody's like, I feel like you're a fire sign. No, there are no fire signs in my chart.
Damn.
Oh, for real?
None.
Oh, wow.
It's
I'm a trifecta. I have fire, water, and earth.
No, I have mainly earth and water.
I'm water.
I mean your top three, your big three.
Oh,
I'm
my
water.
big three is
I'm
earth
water,
and water.
earth, and air.
I am just water and earth. That's probably why I'm like, I don't know, for a Cancer, they're emotional and shit. Well, I can be emotional, but I feel like a lot of people have a hard time reading me or figuring me out because I don't really show the emotions, if that makes sense.
It's
I can
definitely
tell.
your Virgo rising.
Yeah, Virgo rising. No, it's not Virgo rising.
I thought you were
I'm
Virgo
Virgo
rising.
moon.
I'm
That's
Virgo
your
moon,
emotions.
Capricorn rising.
I'm
very
I'm a Virgo.
analytical of
And
my
that-
own emotions. I think that's why I don't let it at least anymore. Now that I'm more aware, I don't go fucking crazy with my emotions. I sit there and I analyze them. Like, why am I thinking like this? Why am I feeling like this? What's going on?
Yeah, that makes sense.
But I'm a subterranean lake.
And why are you a subterranean lake, Diana?
Because I'm very difficult to get to, as we just discussed.
What you say? You might die getting to me.
Yeah, you might die getting to me. You know, you have to go through a lot of water. But it can be a magical place once you do find me. Okay? I am a subterranean fucking lake.
True. So what do you want to get out of this podcast? Like, what are you looking to, like, do with this podcast? Because I know for me personally, it's going to be a space for me just to talk about the shit going on in my life. And I think a lot of people can relate to all of us through all of our experiences, because we've all had different experiences with life in general. But I think a lot of people will be able to relate and be like, girl, I agree. Fuck that shit.
My reason for doing it is I'm hoping this will get me a date. I'm just kidding.
I mean, you a bad bitch, so all the girls gonna be like, "Oh my god,
yeah, Diana,
who's that Korean bitch? Because she's really cute."
All of my friends be like, "Diana's so sexy." I'm like, then fucking talk to her. The fuck?
I don't know. But for real, my reason for doing this, I want to change the world. No, my reason for doing it, like you said, you know, just to be able to talk about shit. Talk about different topics and stuff. There's like a lot of things, like especially with, you know, being in quarantine and our limited like interactions with other people and shit. Like at least with bartending before, you know, regulars would come in, other people would come in, I would have like conversations about shit. Like, you know, maybe not some deep shit depending on the person, like who it was. If it wasn't one of my regulars, and when I talk about some like sex type shit or something like that. But like it was like, you know, a chance to get like just talk about whatever the fuck. And that's what this is. You know?
I'm laughing because she said something about talking about sex with regulars, and I got in trouble because I was having a conversation with a regular. Well, they were talking to me about it, and I was just listening, but I was the one that got in trouble. We were talking about dildos.
Oh, I remember that.
Yeah,
because they thought it was me. They thought it was me because they were like, that's something Diana would be like talking in the middle of. And I was like, what the fuck are you talking about? It didn't work. Like, they tried saying it was me at first.
They were talking to me about dildos, and I can't remember who it was, but I'm just like, oh, okay, yeah. Dead. And I just asked, I was like, do you name them? And they told me, yeah. And I got in trouble, and they're like, you can't talk about stuff like that at work. And I was like, I wasn't. Someone was talking to me, and I was just listening. Like, what am I supposed to do? Be like, no, cut the shit. We can't talk about that.
I mean, that's like me when I would walk into Pi and be screaming random shit, and everyone would be like, you can't do that, Em. And I'm like, oh, my bad.
So this is a safe space where we can talk about all the shit that we pretty much technically probably shouldn't have been talking about at our jobs anyway in the first place. But, you know, it's still a good conversation. It's good fucking conversation, okay?
I apparently shouldn't be talking about anything at all because I just don't have a filter, and I'm just always getting in trouble with the shit that I say. And I really don't give a fuck.
And you shouldn't.
I don't. I just don't understand why people just be so, they gotta stick up their ass for shit that I say.
And they need to mind their business.
They really do, and
well.
that's
listening. They were listening in on
you
your
over here
conversation.
ear hustling and ain't got shit to do with you, and now you're mad.
People don't know how to mind their business.
I'm all about minding your own business. Like, if I'm not directly talking to you, mind your business. If it's not effectively, is that the word?
Yeah. Like not affecting you?
Yes, thank you. Mind your business.
And that's on period, poo.
If people do not know how to mind their business, they feel like that they should have. I don't know. I'm like gonna get deeper with this. I'm just like, in general, strangers just need to mind their fucking business.
White people. White people. Just kidding. Everyone mind their fucking business.
Vis-a-vis, therefore.
What language is that?
Vis-a-vis?
Is that French?
No, I think it's Latin.
Oh.
Vis-a-vis. It's like vis-a-vis, therefore, henceforth. I don't know. You know, vis-a-vis.
I don't know.
It's like when you're making a point. Vis-a-vis, this is why you should mind your fucking business. Okay?
I've never heard that.
For real?
Yeah.
I thought we were going, like, the other day I said vis-a-vis and you said something else. I forgot what we were talking about.
It probably didn't sound like that to me.
No, it was like basically a play off of that. I forgot what the fuck it was though.
I've never heard this before. Was I drunk?
The other day?
On Sunday? That's the only other day.
I was not drunk on Sunday.
And I forgot what the fuck we had said. Maybe it was Jess.
Maybe. She chock full of shit and fun facts.
So the one thing we're going to do in this podcast is we have a little jar of topics. Right here. And we're gonna always pull a topic out, and that's gonna be the topic that we talk about. So we don't know what we're gonna talk about,
Let's do one right now.
but it's just gonna be a topic.
Who wants to pull? Okay. Election 2020.
Look at that. Perfect thing to talk about for the first episode.
Wow.
I had an anxiety attack from Tuesday to Saturday.
From November 3rd all into November 7th.
I was at home by myself and I wanted like someone to come over and like watch the show with me, but like nobody came over, which was fine. But I was having a panic attack the entire, like from 5 o'clock when the polls closed in Virginia, or 7 when they closed in Virginia, to Saturday at like noon o'clock when they announced President-elect.
I
Joe
will
Biden.
never forget going to bed that night. Me and Dar were texting, and she was like, Emily, it's red. Everything is red. And I was like, oh, and I literally went to bed thinking, America did this. They did this again. We are about to have Donald Trump for another 4 years. But then when I woke up and saw Nevada and Arizona blue, and then they were like, Pennsylvania, Wisconsin, and Michigan might go blue. And then we woke up Friday. We woke up Friday to Wisconsin and Michigan being blue, and then Georgia and Pennsylvania, it was like a 0.3% between Donald Trump and
it was so stressful.
Biden. I was like, oh my God, it's about to happen. And then
was so
Saturday, when I woke up and saw Georgia blue and saw Pennsylvania blue, I was like, oh my God. And then I was laying in bed, and then I got the alert, and it was like, Joe Biden is a president-elect with Kamala Harris as vice president. I just remember being like, it's happening. And then I would turn it on the news. I just started watching all the coverage, just like, oh my God. And I literally blasted Fuck Donald Trump for the rest of the day. Like every song that had Fuck Donald Trump, I was just striding around, blasting it. Had my Fuck Donald. I'm gonna wear this until Biden's inaugurated in. I'm gonna, this is my staple I go to for the rest of my life.
Have you guys seen American Horror Story Cult?
I haven't.
You haven't? Okay, so in the first episode,
I remember.
in the
what's
first
about, though.
episode, it's like the election with him and Hillary, and that's how I felt. Like just the tone of that entire season, I'm just like, oh my God, that's how I was on Tuesday.
I was anxious Tuesday night just because of the last election. I was like, you know, like everyone else, I was like, Trump's not gonna fucking win. I went to bed, and then, you know, I got a call at 3 a.m. Trump's president. I was like, wait, what? No. So that was the whole reason why I was anxious to go to bed that night. But I was like, there's no fucking way he's gonna win.
I got so drunk
no fucking way.
the last election. I went to sleep before like they even announced anything, and I woke up the next morning and Jess was like, you know who won? I was like, please don't tell me it's Donald Trump. My eyes aren't even open yet. And she's like, yeah, he's the president. I'm like, I'm going back to bed. Like, leave me alone.
No, because I remember I was working at GB. I was a swing bartender, and it was packed, and everyone's just watching.
Mm-hmm.
And then as it started rolling in, it was just red state after red state after red state. And me and my old roommate, we left. We went and got a bottle of Jameson at 11:45, right before the liquor stores closed. Some other stuff that won't need to be mentioned. We just went back to our apartment and went ham, and at 4 a.m. we're wasted, and it comes through that Donald Trump's president. I was like,
I was so fucked
Yeah,
up.
I remember that night because like RC, he kept looking at the TV. He's like, I'm really nervous. I'm like, it's fine. It's gonna be fine. And then like they all went to like Marvin's or whatever, and that's when I got the call after they closed and they were leaving. I was like, fuck.
and it's been the worst
I didn't
4
believe
years.
it. I didn't fucking believe it.
It's been a lot.
I got drunk for the inauguration. I'm not gonna hold
Oh,
you.
that
I
was
had
the
to work.
worst.
I had to work. I had to work too.
worked
I
a
still got
double.
drunk. I still got drunk and went in.
I worked a double that day, and all you see is like the red MAGA hats, and they're like, America, let me get a Budweiser, and I'm like, okay.
But
I wore my Obama
but the
Okay.
women's march was like the best money.
It was, and they were so nice. That was
They were
for
all very
being
nice.
so busy and on a delay. People have never been fucking nicer.
Nicer.
Like that was so. You're doing a great job. Keep
Yeah,
going.
I had to work that night, and I think it was you and Johnny that were working
Yeah,
that
Johnny
morning.
was like late because Greenbelt was so backed up.
So I got on at Silver Spring to come to work, and then all of a sudden, like, we're hitting like New York Avenue, Union Station, shit like that, and like the train is getting packed, and you know me and people, I'm just like, oh my god. Oh, then we get to Gallery Place, and I stand up, and everybody's like, everyone part, she's getting off the train. And I'm like, oh, you guys are so nice. And I walk in, like, I'm walking to work, and there's just like a line out the door, and I'm like, excuse me, I have to go to work. And they're like, oh my god, we're so sorry, go ahead. And I'm just like, what the fuck? It's like
a madhouse.
it was, you know, like in the cartoons where they look like they're fighting, and all you see is like the ball and like
smoke.
yeah, and like you just see like
and,
arms. Like that's what it looked like walking behind the bar. And I'm like, what the fuck?
And it was just like, grab everything, the managers kept bringing bottles down, like, just bring everything down. We need everything.
There were people who were waiting for a table that ended up getting carry out and were eating by coffee station. And just like coming to them and be like, can I get a beer? And I'm like, sure.
Yeah, they were eating like a carry out on the floor. Like I remember the one lady, she was like eating her little cake on the floor. She's like, thank you so much. I'm like, for real? Okay. She took like $20 for a skillet cake.
They were so
nice. They were tipping.
I will never forget that money. Woo, baby.
The energy.
No, Inauguration was still good. It was still good.
I don't think it was.
Well, GB was.
Yeah, for us it was. And I was like, man, I left early as shit. I could have still been getting drunk. I was so annoyed.
I didn't make any money for real. And then I did go to GB on my break, and y'all were busy, and I had 4 glasses of wine in like 20 minutes, and then I went back to work.
Yeah, that was. I mean, you know, GB is like a beer place, and all those white people.
That's what I was gonna say.
Need my beer.
The white people are gonna flock, but I mean, Pie has beers too, but it's not. I don't know.
They like their craft beer, even though our beer was shit.
GB's beer was
trash.
We had 24 craft beers on draft, so like I was confused.
Y'all's beer is always better, always.
I had
to stop drinking the beer. I had to stop drinking the beer at GB because like I would get sick.
Yeah.
I was like, I'm not feeling too well.
Yeah, no.
I don't like craft beer. Like it's always just too bitter for me, even though it's not supposed to be. And I'm just like, all of this shit tastes the same.
It honestly, it also depended on the managers that we had too. The managers have a tendency to order the beers according to their own taste.
Yeah.
And a lot of them liked IPAs. That's why they always went with the bitter IPAs. Even the fucking one Pilsner, the Lost Rhino one, that's a bitter Pilsner. Like I
don't like that
I was
either.
not a fan of that one.
So, are you guys hopeful that things are going to change now that Biden and Kamala are in office? Like, will be in office?
I'm honestly like nervous still, just because like, you know, you saw the shit on Saturday. So I'm like, while I was like happy that, you know, the both of them won, like I forgot who texted me. Like my sister, one of my friends, someone like texted me about like, you know, they called it for Biden and Kamala. And I was like part of me was like happy, but at the same time I still felt anxious about the whole situation. Like I still feel anxious about the situation. Like yes, there's going to be change, but at the same time there's going to be a lot of pushback from, you know, just from the citizens and the other politicians as well. So it's not going to be easy.
I mean, I know a lot of people are saying that they don't want the Senate to turn blue because then there's no such thing as checks and balances because we'll have a whole blue political system. Like, what is that? Political party, government, a whole blue government.
Well, it'll be the legislative and the executive branch, but the judicial will still be, you know, conservative.
But I think, like, since, you know, the judicial branch already said they're not going to repeal the Affordable Care Act. They already went through that. They're not going to take it back. Thank you, God, because I need my health insurance. But it's also like, if the legislative is blue, they can impeach Brett and what's her name, Amy.
They really?
Yeah, they can impeach them if they find reasons as to why they're
misconduct.
Yeah,
well,
Brett is the rapist, so
yeah,
and then Amy has no experience, so she needs to get the fuck out of there.
I feel like I can apply to be
I was
a judge
next week. I'm gonna be starting my new job, Speaker of the House. You know, I'm gonna have a ring. You guys can kiss it. I just make up whatever the fuck I want, since everyone else does.
Yeah.
You know that's really bad to say. It's now, please, universe, don't do this. But if Joe Biden does die in office, like we'll have a black Indian woman as president,
Yeah.
which would be amazing. She probably wouldn't win re-election because America's not ready for that, but that would be awesome. Like, just for a little bit.
Yeah.
I'm just
I
thinking
hope
how
he-
the
I-
people
I-
how the people will be.
He's not going to, in all reality. Yes, he turned 78, I think, this week or next week.
My man's as old as fuck.
But he doesn't look that, if you really look at Joe Biden, he doesn't look like
How
a
old?
78-year-old.
How old was Reagan when he was president?
Oh,
you know?
why are you
Yes.
asking us this? Yes.
It's like who's the oldest president that we ever had? 'Cause I think it was
Let's
Reagan.
see.
He
Oldest
was maybe
presidente.
close to his 80s.
Oh, it says Donald Trump.
Donald Trump is.
Oh, for real?
Yeah. So the youngest to become president was John F. Kennedy at 43 years old, and 260 or 36 days at his inauguration. And then the oldest person to assume the presidency was Donald Trump at 70 years old, 220 days on inauguration day.
Hmm.
I'm just
So-
saying.
So now it's Joe Biden now, because he's
Yes.
77. He's going to be 77
Yes.
when he is inaugurated. Well, he'll
But
be 78
so
when
they
he's
did
inaugurated.
say that Joe Biden was the youngest person to run for office, like for presidency, because apparently he ran when he in his 40.
Oh, he ran before.
Yeah.
I didn't know
So
that.
he ran when he was like 40 to be president, and then now he is the oldest to be president.
Oh, wow.
So he has that going for him at least.
Okay. The only thing I like about Joe Biden is that he has said, like, watching his debates with Donald Trump, he has actually acknowledged that there's systemic racism and that police reform needs to happen, and that healthcare is my main platform that I've always been about because of everything with me. And so I'm like, healthcare, yes, that's why you're getting my vote, because he actually wants to have universal healthcare. And that's what we need in America is universal healthcare. Like, look at every thriving country that's actually making it universal healthcare.
That's the other thing too, because like I know, like I've said it before, Congress, they get the socialist benefits, but they sit there and try and like make everyone else scared by saying it's socialism, it's communism, to get the health care, to get whatever. And I'm like, y'all enjoy some, the things, I don't know, the system that you guys have set up is like has socialist like practices pop, I don't know the word that I'm looking for, but you enjoy socialist benefits. Meanwhile, you try and tell everyone else that it's bad.
Like that tweet that went around, they were like, Donald Trump, look at all the healthcare you're getting while you have coronavirus. That's what everyone else should be getting too, but you get to enjoy those benefits.
We also paid for it with our taxes.
Well, you paid $750.
I've paid more in taxes. I've
Make it
also
make
spent
sense.
more money on stupider shit.
And how much do we make combined in comparison? Like,
We don't even hit up. We actually.
I
hit
barely got
100,000.
2 pennies to rub together.
bruh, anytime anyone asks me for some money or some change, I'm like, I'm really sorry. I have no cash.
But today, when I walked out of
I have no
7-Eleven, the lady was like, "You have any spare change?" And I was like, "I don't carry cash." And I said, "Also, I'm on food stamps and unemployment just like everybody else." And she was just like, "Yeah, girl, like what?"
We are all fucking struggling. Meanwhile, your politicians are enjoying, they're like, what, month-long vacations while we're all like, what the fuck are we gonna do for money? They're like,
Yeah.
let's take a break, you guys, and we'll get back together later on.
And they
Like,
still didn't do
Yeah.
shit.
and yeah, you still didn't do shit.
And
we're
you
still
give us
like
a funky ass
fucking
$1,200.
That I never got, but that's my fault. I don't file my taxes, so cause fuck the government. Y'all can suck my dick. And now they know. But I cut all that.
I'm not trying to go to jail for tax evasion, so.
Well, I read a thing that
I don't.
Yeah.
They don't go after you.
Yeah, and
It's
they
the
also-
the larger
they
amounts.
won't go after you because they also want their money. So if you're in jail, they won't get their money. They'll just garnish your,
My
whatever.
wages?
Yeah.
I gotta no, they didn't take my money because I was like, maybe that's why I didn't get my other tax return. I'm like, no, because it would have said they processed my application. My shit didn't even get processed. Fucking bitches, pay me my money. Fucking bitches.
I just need January to hurry up and come because I'm just so over all of this.
Honestly, like it's not gonna end though. That's the
I know,
thing. It's
I
not
know
gonna
it's
end. Those motherfuckers aren't gonna like stop complaining. I mean, that's their right. That's your right as an American citizen. But
No, but
I
everyone's
reserve the
everyone's
right
always
to
gonna
call you
complain.
an asshole and racist. And like that thing that bothers me. I don't know.
I mean, like Chelsea Clinton tweeted, I think 2 days ago, she was like, the fact that people are still outside my mother's house, like telling her that she needs to go to jail, is just baffling to me. And I'm like, yeah, like she was like, can y'all get over 2016? Like y'all won. So why are you still outside of my mother's house?
Because now they lost and now they're mad.
Yeah, and
But
you
it's
got
been the
Donald
whole
Trump. Yeah, but you
time.
got Donald Trump the whole time saying crooked Hillary, I'm gonna get her, blah blah blah. Meanwhile, this motherfucker hadn't done shit. Like his wall, who paid for that?
We
We did. I thought it was supposed to be Mexico,
Mexico, yeah.
right?
Mm-hmm.
Like,
Oh, did y'all? And probably y'all. I know you're on Twitter, but you're not really on Twitter. But you saw the video. Of
I mean, I'm on Twitter, but I'm like not on Twitter.
this guy who's building the wall. He was like,
oh yeah, going in
You're
back
going
and forth, and you're just laughing because it literally you can just squeeze, like not even squeeze, just go
and just go
in
and
between the
out.
wall.
Yeah.
Like, Mr. Trump, your
Okay.
wall is a joke, just like your presidency.
He's a fucking joke. I also, so I
A really
think
bad
that
joke.
I think that this entire time he has been like saying outlandish things because he has been recording for a reality show, and I believe this because nobody like you cannot be this delusional.
He's always
Like
I mean,
you
he
can't
also-
you cannot be that delusional and just like I can't
I think it's a personality disorder. Honestly, he's a narcissistic personality disorder.
100%.
Like,
well yeah I
he's
don't
always
doubt that.
he's always been that way. Like, and then he also grew up a rich white boy also, and had like that motherfucker was not smart enough to get into Wharton.
Yeah,
His
no way.
father donated money. That was the whole motherfucking reason he got into Wharton. Everyone's like, he's such a good businessman. He's so smart. This is why I'm voting for Trump. You're voting for an idiot. Therefore, vis-a-vis, you are an idiot. Vis-a-vis. Like, I'm serious. It's a waste of vote. Like, I'm not really personally not a fan of, political parties, Republican, Democrat,
Yeah, I'm not either.
any of it. I feel like it takes away attention from the actual issues at hand
Mm-hmm.
and separates people. It separates the citizens, and that's why we don't get shit done. That's why shit stays the same. But at the same time, the people in power want the shit to be that way because they maintain the status quo. The status quo keeps the white people, rich, and the ones who benefit from the whole system. So it's like a never-ending fucking circle.
Which I think it will end
Cycle.
though. I'm not gonna lie. I honestly believe in 20 years, I can see political parties disappearing because I think our generation is really with the whole, I'm not a Republican, I'm not a Democrat. I am for issues. I am for, people having rights, human rights. That's what I think our whole generation is all about. The fact that Gen Z is the one generation that just like is the most gender fluid generation there is.
Yo, they're fucking savages and I love it.
The most savage people.
I love it.
Like, I used to think they were a little wonky in the head, but now I'm like,
all the stupid shit that they would do. Yeah.
the Tide Pod shit.
That's so dumb. But they're fucking savages.
They are.
And I thoroughly enjoy seeing them like take over shit.
Like the TikToks that went viral of all the Gen Z people being like, listen to my mom bitch at me about Trump. And I'm just like, yo, you go. She's like, Mom, fuck you. Trump's horrible. Why are you voting for him? And they're like, just got kicked out of my mom's house. I'm like, yo, y'all go ham. Like, way to be like, fuck you. Like, thank you. Like, that's what we need.
You saw a mom that was yelling at her son, though, for voting independent. She's like, I told you! You vote for Biden! You go in there, you vote for Biden!
Oh,
yeah,
I saw that. They
that.
were in the
Wasting
car.
your vote.
They were in the car.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
It's
saw
like,
that
you
one. Yeah.
idiot.
I also saw one of this Mexican boy. He was pranking his mom and he came downstairs with the red MAGA hat. He was like, Mom, I voted for Trump. And she like goes off in Spanish, calls him just all kinds of shit. Pretty much told him like, you're a disgrace. Like, what the fuck? And so she starts hitting him with the chancleta. And he's like, Mom, you can't hit me. It's illegal. She's like, fuck you. I'm illegal too. I wish I could find this. I wish I could find it, but it was so funny.
Oh, man.
But then I also read the comments and somebody was like, what is she saying? I can't speak Spanish. Or like, I don't understand Spanish. And somebody was like, learn it. Which I feel like everyone should learn Spanish.
Yes.
Because it's the second most spoken language in America.
And now the Hispanic people make up 25% of our population. So
I'm like just trying to figure out
Apréndelo.
how many young percentage of young conservatives are there?
I'll pull up the map later and show you, but you know how they broke down all the they
Yeah.
broke it all down about what age group voted for what, and I think it was like 18 to 25% of young people voted conservative this election, but majority of young people voted, like the 18 to 30 voted for Biden.
Yeah, like that's the other thing too. Like people, I feel like voted for Trump just because they're voting along with their party.
100%, that's why.
And you're sitting there and you're saying, like, I don't know, like the people on Saturday when they came in, they were like saying sheeple, like saying like
Mm-hmm.
everyone else that's not Republican are just sheeple following whatever, blah blah blah. I'm like, what about you though?
I mean,
The
in all
whole
reality,
thing of-
everyone-
Right, they're
It's
so
because
they're
Trump
such
was like-
hypocrites.
is because Trump, blah blah blah, and the one dude was sitting there in the restaurants yelling, "We're all loyal to Trump." Like, shut the fuck up, bro.
Shut the fuck
I
up.
can tell from your hat. You don't need to be yelling that shit. Like,
Like someone tweeted and was like, "Do you see people with like going around being like Biden, Harris?" Like, no, like no
No.
one's doing that. We're all just like, yeah, we're gonna vote for Biden, Harris because we believe in human rights and they believe in human rights. So let's just vote for them. Like, and I'm not saying if you're Republican and you don't believe in human rights, but if you voted for Donald Trump, you don't believe in human rights. And
yeah,
that's
it's
point
like
period.
that is just like, I feel like you're just like, you know, be a Republican, that's fine, whatever. But it's voting for Trump, knowing what he stands for, knowing like his policies, all this, that, the third. Because like someone I had played rugby with, she had posted this video, saying that she voted for Trump in both elections, and she's like, I'm not racist, blah blah blah, all this stuff, and I'm like,
But you're okay with racism.
but you're okay, yeah. So by you know, you're still just as bad. It doesn't
Yes.
make it any less bad because all the racists, like people, and that's the other thing too. People are like, Obama's the reason why racism came back. I'm like, oh, racism never went the fuck away. Y'all just felt like you could say whatever the fuck you want, like because there was the other Republicans that were trying to like, you know, degrade or whatever, trying to put him down just because of his background, and say that he wasn't American. That was the other
Donald
thing.
Trump started that whole thing.
That's
too.
the other thing. That's the problem with like fucking nationalism. And then you have all the white nationalists who feel emboldened to come out and just be like, you know, this is me, this is whatever, this is what we believe. And like they feel, all the racists feel comfortable to say whatever the fuck they want because Trump's getting away to say whatever the fuck he wants. He became president. It's fine.
Mhm.
You know, this shit, it's stupid.
I mean, that's what everyone's saying. Like, yeah, we get to go back to our regular racism, to where it's like we all know it exists, but they're all just like in their houses, like fucking niggers. But in public, they're just like, oh, give you a little smile.
Black friends. Or the,
Oh my god, I love that one. I'm not racist. I have black friends.
Or it's I have a black friend, and I'm like, mm-hmm. Now,
I'm not racist. My cleaning lady's Spanish. Shut the fuck up. Suck my ass.
like
it's like, yeah.
if you say or believe, like, I don't know. And then, do you think that I'm trying to think how I want to phrase the question. Like, yeah, I mean, does giving people a pass, or like racist people a pass, or not really acknowledging it as a problem, does that make you racist as well, or just a part of the problem?
Yes, that makes you racist.
And I
as
feel
well.
like it makes you racist
Yes.
as well because that makes you complicit and you're
Yes.
okay with the shit as it is.
Yes.
You don't.
You don't think that needs to be changed.
Yeah, and like that's
Which
the whole problem.
also makes you a part of the problem.
Yes.
Yeah, that's the whole thing. Like back home, they're racist as fuck.
And where are you from, Diana?
Glen Rock, Pennsylvania. You know, they got their Confederate flags on their trucks, on their houses, type shit. Like, they're pretty openly racist. And like, I had a friend, she would sit there and she's like, I'm not racist, blah, 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 but she would say shit like, Lil Wayne's hot for a black guy, or something, like, so-and-so's attracted for a black person. Like, I was pretty for an Asian. I'm like, so what, white is the standard? Like, this is
Yes.
what is,
Yes.
like, what? And she would be like, I'm not racist. I'm like, yes, you are. And like, for a long time, she denied it. She said she wasn't racist. I'm like, no, you are racist. I'm like I used to hang up the phone on her because she would just start dropping the N-word like it's nothing. I'm like, bruh, I already told you how I feel about this. And she would laugh it off. And I'm like, and I really fucking thought, that's why I stay friends, but I really thought I could change her mind, like change it. Because she's like, I never was that way until I started dating so-and-so. And I'm like, I don't know. I don't really know. I think you already had the prejudices and it's just.
There isn't any changing minds.
They have to do it themselves.
Yeah, they do. It's just people who want to work on themselves and like who want help. You can't help somebody if they don't want to help themselves.
Exactly.
So you can't change somebody's mind unless they want to change their mind.
When do you decide though? Because like honestly, it became to a point because she was also like, her and her boyfriend were also like incredibly homophobic, and I got really uncomfortable because I wasn't out yet. So I was like, I gotta end this friendship. But like, what's the point where it's like, okay, this person's not gonna change? Like, do you stop trying or do you keep going?
You stop trying.
Yeah.
Like,
You stop
I mean,
trying.
we all know my
Like-
situation. I stopped trying. And I
yeah.
just stopped being friends. And then immediately she came back and she had to learn on her own. And she learned on her own. And I'm glad she did, but it's like they have to do it themselves. They have to experience it themselves. And that's the only way it's gonna happen. Like you can do your best to give them all the information, but if they don't retain the information, then it doesn't matter. You have to retain the knowledge and information about what's out there in the world. Because I might get a lot of flack for this, but like I think it's hard to be white as well. I do. Because you grow up in a bubble and you don't know about life until you're out there. And then you're like, oh, wait, hold on. Black people really die because they're black. Hispanic people can't become citizens like how Russians become citizens. Like, what's wrong? Like, you don't know that until you're out in the real world and you see it. It's up to you to acknowledge it and be like, oh, that's a problem. But if you're a white person who just wants to be in their bubble, then stay in your bubble and be racist the rest of your life.
I don't think like necessarily it's harder to be a white person.
It's not harder.
I think it's on your parents also.
Yeah, but I'm saying
like,
it's not hard. It's hard. We all know it's hard to be a minority. It's
Yeah.
way hard to be a minority.
But like, I'm just saying, like, they don't experience like the whole thing because like, you know, Rachel Cargle on her thing, like the white ladies that come on. Rachel Cargle.
Remember we told you
She's
to
like
follow
the
her.
intersectional therapist activist.
You followed her.
Okay.
You know, white women come on her page all the time and try to tone police her, be like, I'm an ally, I just want to know blah blah blah, like why do you have to be like this? I'm like, you can't tell a person of color how they feel about
100%.
racism, and at the same time you can't be lazy with educating yourself about racism. You have to take an active role to be anti-racist if you're not a person of color.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
But I'm saying that like they don't understand that. So I don't think it's their fault. It's society's fault. Like you're like I'm born a black woman, they're born a white person. Like I didn't know being black was a bad thing until going to college. Like I understood that I'm different, I'm a black woman, and I've seen black people, things happen to them, like, you know, I obviously knew that, but I didn't experience racism till college. So then I was like, holy fuck, it really is hard being a black person in society. Mm-hmm. As a white person, you grow up your whole life being white, and then you get onto the real world, or I don't know what happens to you, but you might see something and your first thought is, holy shit, like what? You don't know what to do because you didn't know about it. And you know, our history is so whitewashed, so like they don't understand. You're 100%.
Like, that's the thing though, because like, you know, I told you where I'm from. Like, my whole life, those motherfuckers are racist as fuck. Like, the KKK would be openly out back
Because
in the
that's
90s.
their society though.
But that's, I don't know. It's not, I don't know, because that just that idea for me just kind of perpetuates that never-ending cycle of, you know, racism, the reason why racism still exists. And like, you know, it is institutional, and that's a big part of the problem. But also another huge part of the problem is other white people. Like, it doesn't matter. Like, if you have kids, it's your responsibility to educate them about the world as it is. It doesn't matter if you don't experience it, you don't see it, whatever. Like, there's a fucking reality, there's a difference, and you have to make sure your kid knows.
But if that's
shit.
all you know, you're gonna teach your kids that. So it's up to white people as a society to take themselves out of that bubble. But they're not going to if you stayed in your city for the rest of your life, you're never going to change. You have to leave and experience things to change your mind. And the internet's out there, but it's what you're going to research. Our school systems don't teach you about Tulsa. They don't teach you about how the whole park in, what is that park? Central Park?
The Central
Seneca
Park.
Village.
Oh, yeah.
How that was a whole thriving black community that they turned down for a fucking park.
Mm-hmm.
They don't teach you that. So like, in your mind, you think black people are just lazy. No, they've been trying to build their own wealth, but white people just kept taking it down, but you don't know that. All you see and all you're told is what your parents, what society's been telling you. Only way you can change that mindset is going out in the world and seeing it yourself. But if they don't, it's never going to change.
I think this is on our politicians too,
Very
because
right.
like for a very long time, you know, I mean, to this day they're still complicit unless they actively make change, and which they still haven't done. They haven't done anything, so
Hopefully they will, but
that's why it's like, I don't know, how can you disrupt the cycle? That's like, I think that's the biggest question.
and I think
Disrupting
we
the
I
cycle.
think we are disrupting the cycle right now, but things are gonna still be, it's still gonna be a very long time. Like, the only way this is really gonna have change is if Biden and Harris are elected again for a second term. Because the first 2 years, we all know nothing is gonna change the first 2 years. You gotta really put in the groundwork and really do it. And people, us as a people, like you said, we have to stay on their ass. We have to be constantly being like, remember you said systemic racism? Remember you said you want police reform? Like, we need to, you gotta do that. You gotta do it.
The other thing, oh man, it just went out of my head.
And it's gone. Come back.
It all.
Really did.
We also have to think about, you know, local elections too, and a lot of people just really vote for the president.
Oh,
And you can't do that if you really want change. Like, you have to vote for
you have to be
your
one
mayors, your
Baltimore
sheriffs,
Your
your
DAs.
DAs, the House and the Senate. Like, you
Your
have
local judges are very important too.
yes, you have to also vote for that. And I was trying to explain that to people. They're like, nothing's gonna happen because somebody voted for Biden, like shit like that. I'm like, no, because
from the top to the bottom.
you have to vote in everything.
Mm-hmm.
In everything.
100% correct.
And I'm in there, in the polls.
Yes.
Like, what's up? I'm here.
Let's do this. Check. You. Mhm. I read what you like.
Yes, and I did a lot of research this time around.
Yeah, I did a lot.
Like, this is like the most research that I've done for everything.
Especially with the amendments and stuff, because
Oh my god.
Yo,
they were so hard to understand.
Governor of Virginia tweeted
Period.
last night, or was it was last night, that he's like, the next step is legalizing marijuana in Virginia.
Isn't he a Democrat?
I mean, that's the
Yeah.
other thing too, though. With the whole legalization, decriminalization of weed and everything, you still got everyone in jail, in the prisons.
Yeah.
Are they gonna let them out? When are you
Oh,
gonna let
they're
them
not.
out? They're not.
I mean,
because
California
you have,
did.
you have to take care of the prison industrial complex.
Yeah.
Prison industrial complex. Like, that's a whole nother problem as well. Like, they need a labor force. What they need to do is get rid of the 13th Amendment, or, you know, like, that says that we can still have slavery. You're still a slave. You're a slave if you're a prisoner. And that's why the whole the war on drugs has started, so they could fill the prisons. I forgot what the number was for the prison population, but it
A
was
lot.
low. No, it was low before that.
No, like, they wanted it to be a lot.
Yeah, and they had, because they needed people to get their fucking free labor, basically, because they pay them like 5 cents, 10 cents an hour.
It's
or
like
some
5
bullshit.
cents,
I
yeah.
feel like
It's
they
cheap
pay
as
them less
fuck.
than
And then it
that.
gets taxed. And then it gets
I
taxed.
did not
What?
know it was
I'm pretty
taxed.
sure it gets taxed. Yeah, so you don't see that money at all. You don't see that money at all.
This country is the worst.
Yes, like 100%. It is a huge motherfucking problem. So like, you have to address that, but in addressing that, you know, there's that's the problem, like, with the whole Antifa, like any of the other like groups or whatever, they politicize everything, and that's what like Black Lives Matter, they've attached that to Antifa and like all of this other shit, and that's that makes it harder to actually get the reform, you know, racial, like, police reform, and then just like undoing the racist system. They're basically saying, you know, this is social and this is communism, y'all need to be afraid. And all the white people are like, oh my god, like,
But yeah, it helps you. Like, my thing is that police brutality technically affects white people more than any other group. Like, they kill y'all just as much as they kill us. Now, they're killing y'all because y'all are actually firing and doing shit, and they kill us just because we're us. But it's like,
We're intimidating looking.
no cop should kill anyone, guilty
No.
or innocent.
Nope.
So why are you so against this? Like, that's the main thing I'm always confused about.
that's also another issue. Like, the way that they train cops is you need to expect to be shot. You need to be expected, like, basically they put the fear of God in them. And that's why I'm like, you don't make someone scared and give them a gun. That's like, where's the
Yeah.
logic in that?
No.
It's inevitable that they're going to fucking shoot someone. And what makes their life more important than someone else's? Like, even if you're a criminal, it doesn't fucking matter.
It does not matter.
Like, there's no difference in whose life is more important. Like,
I also found out that I had to have more hours in cosmetology to be a cosmetologist than I need for hours to be a cop.
Which is crazy to me.
And you're literally just playing with people's hairs and doing chemicals. Yeah, you can get a chemical burn and like shit like that, but you're not gonna die. And I need 16,000 hours. And then I have to go take state board in order to get my license.
Meanwhile, like 6 weeks, 8 weeks.
I think it's like, yeah, it's, I mean, but it all varies by state, but it's still, it's like.
It's very easy. At least in
it's
DC.
So
it's
easy.
easy.
And I'm just like, wait, what?
And that's the other thing. Like, a lot of, like, within, like, this past summer, everyone, you know, calling for, you know, police reform, change, all this shit. Like, Muriel Bowser, you know, she did the Black Lives Matter thing. And I'm like, she still like doubled the budget for the police.
It's cute.
For the
Thank
police.
you. It's
like,
cute.
She gave them a fuck ton of money and was like, I'm not changing the budget, blah, blah, blah. And
I mean, she also hasn't said shit about what happened this past weekend in DC.
yeah.
You have not come out and been like, I'm sorry that this happened to my 3 people were stabbed.
Anything she has done is to make herself look better. That's
100%.
all it is. It's not for the city. It's not for the citizens. It's not for the people. Because if it were, you'd actually be concerned that, you know, someone got shot by the police. Like, you'd be concerned about what's actually happening. All you're concerned about is, you know, making these white liberal men happy. Like, that's who she panders to the most. And, like, that's why it's a huge fucking problem. That's why no one in DC, like, actual DC people, they don't fuck with her. Like, what's his name? Tryon. They were protesting, on a work site in Anacostia because everyone that worked on that site didn't live in the city. They weren't from the city. And like, there's all these people in Southeast that are on unemployment right now, but willing to work, but you're not giving them the jobs. And that's a huge problem with the developers too. Like, this all goes back to, like, you know, redlining and like the way this is why, like, racism, it's every fucking where. The way that they originally, like, years ago, had the city set up. And then now with the gentrification, it's like, okay, I'm like going all over the place, but with gentrification now, it's like the developers, there's like, I think 4 major developers or something like that in DC, and they're all white owned. They have all the properties, you know, the contractors, all this shit. And you're not doing anything internally. Like, when Marion Barry was mayor, he made sure that, like, the contractors being hired were natives, were DC people. Like, he made sure that jobs were created for the people in the city, and instead of, you know, worrying about outsourcing of money, worrying about the next election, worrying about his votes. Like, that's the problem with so many people. They, like, all the politicians, that's why they're all just politicians, not leaders. All they care about is the next election. Like,
well, hopefully things will get better, right, guys? That's what we're hoping for. We're hopeful. I'm hopeful. I'm actually very hopeful, and I haven't been hopeful since Obama left office. And even he was not great of a president, let's be honest. But like,
but he's my president for life.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, I'm always loving her. I love Michelle. That's who I really love. Like, Michelle is who I've always.
She's such a classy lady. Oh my god.
Did you see what she put up?
Yeah.
Oh, that was so powerful. I was like, yes, thank you. Like, Donald Trump, no one wanted you in office, but they still let you in. So why won't you let them in? Like, stop being so. Ugh.
Like.
Because he thinks that it's his.
Seeing the not, I can't wait.
That is like, he's a typical white man.
Yes.
He is a very typical white man. Like,
you claim things that don't belong to you.
Exactly.
Give it up, bro. You lost.
Deuces. I don't know how many days it is right now, but I think it's like 63, 64. You got 60 something days to pack your shit, man. Because you outie 3,000. Bye.
And on that note, we will see you all next Friday. Thank you for being here for our first episode.
Subscribe.
Like, comment,
and
whatever it is that you need to do.
Follow.
Yeah.
You
know, put some questions
Share
on
it.
there.
Share
Maybe
them.
write some things you might want us to talk about. We might add it in our little thing if it's not already in there. You know, you'll see your topic on a future episode.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.